Hello, here I am on my roof. A little 4-year-old drove me out of my place riding his tricycle down below, so I retired up here. You might be able to see Swayambhu in the background there. Actually, you can. Maybe I have to adjust this a little bit. But the sacred stupa, it's the middle pinnacle. You should be able to see it. If you can't, let me see. I'll try and make it available. Okay. Let's see here. There you go, that's Swayambhu. Okay, enough of this. We're pointing in the right direction. That's where Swayambhu is. But this talk isn't about Swayambhu. So I gotta get myself in focus here now. Okay. I'm going to say a few words about my thoughts on diet. Popular topic, because everybody likes to eat. And a lot of bias and prejudices and false thinking divides people because of food. So basically, what is the right diet for a person that's practicing the path of meditation? To get an idea of what the right diet really is, to obtain the right viewpoint that's helpful or supportive to meditation practice. It's not so simple as saying, oh, be a vegetarian or be a vegan, and damn you if you eat meat. It's not so simple and straightforward as that. Probably a lot of people think it is, but it isn't. The Buddha's last meal was pork, and it's almost certain he ate fish almost every day because he lived in a fishing village, lived in Bihar, which is loaded with fishermen. So, and he ate just offerings. So, one cannot say, well, if you're a Buddhist, you should be a vegetarian. And even if the Buddha himself was a vegetarian, that doesn't mean that you have to be. The Buddha himself said, you know, don't do things just because I do them, or believe things just because I say them. And certainly don't eat meat because the Buddha did. That's really upside down. But what was actually said in any of the Buddhist scriptures about food? It's actually very, very straightforward. The Buddha said, take food as medicine. And if you actually just follow that, it actually leads to the perfect meditation diet. A diet that's going to help to develop the proper viewpoint and support one's meditation. And how does it do that? It does it by lessening greed. And what vegetarians are, and vegans, and right now I'm a fruitarian, but that's only for the last few weeks. But generally I'm a vegetarian. But I don't subscribe to it for everybody, and I don't think it's right to say it's even helpful as far as meditation goes. Because for a lot of reasons, but let's just take the idea of food as medicine to begin with. Now the main object of eating is to sustain one's physical body. So one can do the fifth contemplation, which is taking food to accomplish the Bodhisattva way. In other words, taking food to make oneself a better person and being able to serve other people better and help them. So the aim of a diet is to be healthy. And the attitude towards the food should be to take it as medicine. So vegetarians and vegans, they violate this principle terribly. If you go into any health food store and look at all the terrific, fantastic tasting foods and concoctions that vegetarians and vegans have come up with to imitate the taste of meat and dairy and everything else, to satisfy the palate in every way imaginable. It's astounding. And it's hardly done in the name of medicine. It's done in the name of having food as entertainment, as delicious, as very, very sensuous, as delightful. And the most important thing about food is that one should avoid all hankerings, because typically we hanker after things that are not maybe the best for us. We don't hanker after bitter herbs like we do chocolate or something else. So what this is getting at is, as far as cutting off greed goes, and eating food that doesn't excite the mind, and food that we hanker after, food that creates craving. As far as avoiding food that creates craving and greed, vegetarians and vegans are as certainly every bit as lax as common meat eaters and non-vegetarians. I don't like to use the word meat eater because it puts it presents a non-vegetarian in a negative light, and it really is wrong. A person that doesn't eat meat, or does eat meat, and that needs it for medicine, is far more, and he avoids hankerings, you know, seeking out delicious dishes and endlessly preparing his food to taste so great. If he eats simply for nutritional reasons, he's far better off than a vegan or a vegetarian that's spends hours contemplating his next meal. I mean, that's just greed, craving. Exact things that we want to avoid as Dharma practitioners. If we take our food as medicine, we can go into a whole health food store and eat whole foods. Apples, bananas, pears, nuts. Vegetables, simply steamed. We don't have to spend endless time or buy foods that are prepared in certain ways. If you take your food as medicine, you're just eating basically unprocessed foods. So much vegetarian food is processed, mixed in this way and that way, and to make a satisfied taste and cravings. These cravings, whether it's craving for meat or craving for vegetables, doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It's still craving. You can have a statue of the Buddha in gold, and you can have a spoon made out of gold, and it's still gold. And you can have a Hawaiian garlic steak and some fruitarian ice cream, and it's still craving. Still craving for those things. Whether you're craving for meat or you're craving for some non-dairy ice cream, or some cappuccino, or some hemp margarine. Whatever the craving may be, it's still craving. And that's what diet is aimed at reducing. So, being a vegetarian certainly doesn't target craving, which a good diet certainly should. A good diet, a dharmic diet, sets its sights on craving. And that doesn't confine it to a vegetarian or vegan context. Although personally, I think that if one targets craving and greed for food within the context of a vegetarian or vegan diet, one is more likely to succeed in one's ambition than if one tries to accomplish less greed and less craving in the context of a meat-eating diet. But one who eats meat for health and targets greed and craving within the context of a modest meat-eating diet is going to accomplish far more than the vegetarian or vegan who ignores greed and craving within a vegetarian or vegan context. The priority should always be to cut off greed and craving. And while vegetarian and veganism is a step in the right direction, it's certainly not a cure-all. And many, many, many great masters have been meat eaters and still are. But they take their meat as medicine. Without greed. The shelves of any health food store is ample evidence of the greed that's associated and that goes into a vegetarian diet. It stretches the imagination to look at all the different healthy cookies, cereals, candy bars. Oh my gosh. Row after row of shelves filled with everything that you can imagine. And if you go in there shopping thinking that you're doing the right thing because it's vegetarian, don't be fooled. Handful of nuts, a couple of apples, maybe some peanut butter on a banana. That's it. That's what what it's all about. It doesn't have to be packaged. Nature packages these things. Look at how beautifully a banana is packaged. All clothed and everything. Look at the skin of an apple, how beautiful it is. Mangoes. They're already packaged by nature. Why do we have to package them? Because we crave for different flavors and so forth. But this craving for different flavors is the wrong diet. It actually undermines all the purpose of eating, which is medicinal. So I'll end this talk here. This is my views on diet and the importance of simple foods and foods that don't lead to craving for fine flavors and greed for them. Namaste. One more show over.